we're not finished. And no, we are not. And based on the responses that we're getting from all of you, you are not finished either. As I said in the past video, we're so excited with the response. We talked a lot about relevancy in the last video, and those responses have led to yet another question, and the question of expectations. So when Harriet and I started to talk about this, I said, well, Harriet, what do you mean expectations? So I ask you, what do you mean expectations?
So I can go back to my very earliest memories. I can remember being 4, 5, 6 years old, and people would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say, oh, I want to be a mommy. That was my expectation. Don't ask where it came from, probably my own mother, maybe they told me, but that's what I wanted to be. That's what I expected to be. And the other thing I expected to be was a teacher. And I expected to be a teacher because way back then, girls didn't know that they had other options. The option was, you want to be a teacher or you want to be a nurse. And I figured the teacher was better off because the nurses had to clean bedpans. And little did I know back then, all the things I'd have to clean up in the classroom, but that's a whole other video. So I wanted to be a mommy and I wanted to be a teacher, and maybe because I thought being a teacher would allow me to have vacations and summers, and oh my, I thought I could come home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and have a lovely afternoon and evening with my children. Yeah, that didn't happen. So there was a path outlined, and how was I going to get there? Well, I was going to do well in school. I was going to go to college. I wasn't going to be on the business track. No, I was going to be on the academic track, so that I could graduate with a bachelor's degree and go into teaching. And there were other expectations along the way. It was, well, who are you going to marry? How are you going to have the life you want? And these were all the expectations that were ingrained at a very early age.
So my mind is going 100 miles an hour right now, as we both chose the same career path, and basically for the same reasons. Wanted to be a mommy. That's all I wanted to be. I wanted to be a mommy. I wanted to raise my children. I wanted it to be Ozzie and Harriet. And that's television. I remember after having my second child, I thought, because of all the things that I was hearing in society, I was expected to work and be a mommy. And so I found somebody to help with my 2 children. I went back to work. I didn't want to work. I wanted to be home with my children. So I stopped working. And then I felt the pressures again that I should work again. By then I had a 3rd child. So I started to work again. I went out of the school system because of the societal expectations, not what was in my heart, but because of the societal expectations of, you can have it all, you can be a mom, you can work, you can do this, you can do that. And it made for a lot of anxiety, and it made for disappointments, and it made for a lot of stress.
It sure did. And what Krista's talking about is the dawn of the women's liberation movement.
Yes.
Because Krista and I, as I think are many of you, were raised with one foot in a generation of women who didn't work at all. And suddenly, we found ourselves in the 70s, where women were expected, the women who were worth something, to go out and have a job and do it all. And it was hard because we didn't have a roadmap.
No roadmap.
our moms stayed home unless they were in unfortunate circumstances where they had to go to work. Now that, I'm not saying everybody, but for the most part, that's what society expected of us, of them. So we, were suddenly thrust into this new environment that society had created, and we were trying our best to live up to all of our expectations, the expectations that we were raised with. We were going to be perfect mothers and perfect wives, and we were going to live that sitcom home style, beautiful, neat, fabulous home.
Oh, the perfect house, and we were actually going to dust with pledge in our gowns.
We were. Yes, we were.
Yes, we were.
And then we had to, because we thought we had to, go to work too. And we were prepared because we had these careers that we had prepared for. They weren't heavy duty, so we thought, but these were all of our expectations. So in my case, the children did not come so easily. And it threw me because it wasn't happening, and I felt worthless. Furthermore, I embarked on a teaching career, and I didn't like it. I was a kid. I was 20 years old in a classroom of other kids, and none of it was what I thought it was going to be. And it didn't take long before I went running out of there crying. So now where was I? I had expectations. I wasn't a mother. I wasn't a very good teacher. And I was lost. And I had to figure out what to do. So first experience in my life anyway of expectations not being met, it was a depressing time.
Thanks for sharing that. That's a lot to share. So I think about that when we talk about the expectations. We also have the expectations that what we do is we're going to do it perfectly. It's going to be perfect.
That's right.
So we were going to be perfect moms, and we were going to be perfect wives, and we were going to have perfect households and raise perfect children, kind of in the Stepford wife kind of scenario. And the disappointment and the reality that is not realistic and there is no such thing as perfection can come as a great disappointment. And then the reality of trying to deal with the children not coming, or and everything that you expected to be able to do and do it perfectly not coming to fruition, because that's not the way that it works in the world. What about you guys? What about disappointments that you have faced? How you've dealt with them? How you face them? How you face them down? And our conversations will continue, and I know that you have something, but there have been disappointments, and I don't want to talk about like specific ones to me right now, but they knock you down to a level, to the gut level. How do you bring yourself out of it?
Can we take those experiences? Can we remember how we pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps and kept going? Can I recall how I turned it around? How I had that blessed family? How I managed to forge that career? And can I remember that internal fortitude and how I drew upon it over and over again for yet the next step and yet the next step? And we've heard from several of you who say, what do I do when it all falls apart? And what I'm trying to say is, it's not the first time. We've all dealt with disappointments in the non-fulfillment of expectations? Can we remember that this is yet another step in a journey and move on and say, I'm not finished?
Not finished. We'll see you next time. Like us, follow us.
Comment, tell us what you think, and we'll talk about it.
Thanks, everybody, and happy holidays.